welcome to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Randazzo. I am joined today by my two rather rambunctious co-hosts. It's Victory Monday, baby. We are back. I'm so happy. These are my favorite shows, the ones after the week. The Monday show, there's nothing quite like it. I will say that. Victory Monday, loaded schedule. To my right, it is none other than our very own Uncle Sam.
Hello.
And to my left, it is the one, the only, Mr. Zolo, Mike Palazzolo.
Blessed.
And behind the computer, sick as a dog and absolutely coated in his own goo, it is Bruce, the tugboat, Venditti.
Howdy. That's it, the camera
You
shot.
were in bed all day today, Bruce?
All day.
How much goo did you shoot?
None.
No goo?
No.
How many fucking socks are standing in the corner of your room?
Well, from previous, probably 20.
20 goo socks. Anyways, we've got a lot to do today. We've got a full schedule. We have a Monday Night Football game tonight. A lot of instant reactions. Humongous injury weekend. I mean, there are some. I mean, for a team like Green Bay, the season could be over before it even begins. A lot of surprises. My jaw dropped at some of these games this weekend. So we have a lot to get into. Before that, Uncle Sam, how was your weekend? The first NFL weekend of the year. How was it?
I watched a lot of football.
Really?
Watched a ton of football this weekend.
Did you watch any college ball this
Oh,
weekend?
yeah. Watched college and pro. I watched Michigan get their asshole pummeled. State, they pulled out a big win on the road.
Aiden Childs looked good, I heard. I didn't watch it, but I heard he was pretty good.
Actually, his numbers would have been a lot better. He had two guys that he barely overthrew for touchdowns. This same guy.
Good for him.
He was wide open. He missed them. But he's getting there. Went from 117 yards the first week to over 300 this week. That just passed. So Michigan got a lot of problems. Their offensive line is horrible. Sharon Moore needs to go away.
Jeez, after one game.
Dude, he's awful, dude. He's not a head coach, dude. He needs to get the fuck out. All right?
The offensive line is garbage. He didn't hire a good replacement
you know
for
what?
his offensive
You
line.
figure a guy coming off a national championship would have enough fucking common sense to tell the people that are running the business that we need to get quarterback in here. We need the O-line in here. What the fuck are they doing, dude?
I'm not
That
too
was
worried.
embarrassing.
I'm not too worried about the offensive line. I figured they'd lose. I don't know about 20
Well,
points.
I thought
but-
they were going to lose too,
Yeah, I
but
thought
not
10,
get blown
10
out.
15. I'll say this much. What you said about the quarterback, every team figured it out. I think they fell victim to the fact that they made it as deep as they did. And when everyone was recruiting the portal, Michigan was playing football still. But that's no excuse. It's either it's complacency, or the fact that you couldn't develop a quarterback. There's no excuse, in my opinion.
Yeah, your best player on the team is a fucking tight end. The Lovelace
There's
kid.
the corner-
He's the only kid that's any good. The
corner and the
corners are
D tackles.
garbage, dude.
No,
You
Will
watched him get
Johnson's-
fucking stretched.
Will Johnson's not
They
garbage.
got,
He had a great
he got
game.
fucking stretched.
Will
He got
Johnson.
stretched,
Will
dude.
Johnson gave up 2 catches.
Anyway.
Well,
He didn't get stretched.
I will say I was very tuned into a college football game on Saturday because I had a 13-leg parlay going on that would have made it a very, very good weekend. And I fell victim to none other than the Northern Illinois Huskies taking down Notre Dame to absolutely shatter my hopes of winning the lottery this weekend.
that shit.
That was Saturday.
I'm really big in when Notre Dame losses. I'm very big into that.
I mean, what the fuck?
They're still better than Michigan.
I think Michigan would crush Notre Dame.
Michigan's a joke, dude. They're a fucking joke right now.
That's fine. Guess
They're
who won
fuck-
the national
Guess
championship
what,
last
dude?
year?
Mark my words on
You
this.
got the ring last year.
It doesn't matter. That's going to get
matters.
taken away real soon.
Never will. Guess who got the ring last year? I'll
Fucking-
mark your words, but guess who got a ring
I
last
can't
year?
wait. I think State can beat Michigan this year.
Maybe, but guess who won the national championship last year?
It doesn't matter.
It
It's gonna get
it
taken
100%
away.
matters.
It's that guy hiding.
never
out-
gonna get taken
That
away.
guy hiding out in
It's
fucking Los
never
Angeles.
gonna get taken away.
You had to go pro.
Never
because
gonna
he
get
was gonna
taken
get
away.
ass
Let that
raped
sink in.
by
That's
the
never gonna get
NCAA.
taken away. Bruce, clip this. It's never
Ass
gonna get
raped by
taken
the
away.
NCAA.
It's
That's
never gonna get taken away.
why. Yeah.
Wow, we're off to a bang-up start. Victory Monday, baby.
Victory year for Michigan football. Defending national champions
Yeah.
at least until
Yeah.
December.
Got pummeled. They're going to get pummeled this week, too.
Don't care.
Who do they play this week?
Don't care. That 2019
They play
LSU
again
team
this
won 8 games, and I'm sure their fan base is fine with it.
Yeah, one national championship in fucking 40 years.
Michigan?
Yeah.
They got 2 in 20 years.
Yeah, one in what, 97?
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
And when did Michigan State last win? When did Ohio State last win?
What are you talking about?
I'm just saying.
Ohio
you're
State's
comparing.
got a lot more championships. You can't even go there.
Michigan has the most national championships.
Out of
Second
who?
now to Alabama. Alabama passed them 2 years ago. Michigan has the second most, and they're the most wins all time, 1,005.
Yeah, you can't go back to fucking 1920. dude.
Okay, then you can't count Ohio
Hold on,
State
hold
and
on.
Notre
You
Dame
do
and
all
all
the
that.
time.
That's what you just
What?
did.
You do that all the
You
time.
cherry
still
picking.
live in
What are you talking
1920.
about?
You're literally
let alone
cherry
jump
picking.
back. You live in 1920, let
You
alone
can't
jump
pick
back
and
to
choose when the
1920.
stats can be stats. Everyone else
Oh,
claims
wow.
those wins against
Yeah.
the high schools.
Guess what, dude? They ain't gonna fucking make the playoffs this year. They're not even gonna win the fucking Big Ten this year.
I didn't expect them to. I didn't
Yeah.
expect them to do either of those.
Yeah.
All I know is they won a
They're
national
lucky to
championship
go
last year.
500 this year. They'll be lucky to go 500.
Cool. They weren't lucky to
Clip
go
that.
15-0 last year.
Clip that. They'll
I
be
agree
lucky to
with
go
you.
500.
I agree with you. The whole point is they won a national championship last year. I can watch Michigan football on Saturdays and not care at all.
living last year.
National championship. Defending national champion Michigan Wolverines.
Unless that gets taken away.
It's
we don't know yet.
never getting
we don't know
taken
what's going
away.
to happen.
It's never getting
They might
taken
have to
away.
get rid of it, just like Penn State had to get rid
It's
of all of it.
never getting taken away.
You know,
It's never getting taken away.
Connor Stallions.
And where was
Scallions-
Connor Stallions for Penn State, Ohio State, Washington, Alabama in the Rose Bowl? Where was Connor Stallions for those games?
Yeah.
They won every important game without him.
Whatever. They were cheating, got caught, and then
They were cheating against
Harbaugh
Alabama?
runs to the NFL just like Pete Carroll did, just to fucking save face, so he doesn't have to get fucking blasted by the NCAA.
Okay. With all of that said, off to a great start. We need to talk about NFL because it was a monster weekend. Okay, so I want to give Zola. I didn't even ask you how your weekend was. Besides the Michigan loss, how was
So I had again, I don't mean to open up a can for him because he gets rattled every time I say it. I can watch Michigan football this year. For the next 3 years, I can watch them and not be rattled at all.
See, my
because-
dad said the exact same.
because they
Doesn't
just won a
matter.
national
This does- none
championship.
of
So I don't
this
care.
matters. Right.
To the point where I watched them go at the half, and I'm like, I'm going to run the rest of my errands. I played pickle Saturday morning. I went and got new Lions gear Saturday morning, and then I hosted a tailgate yesterday, which I've never done before.
You did.
And it went so well.
Where did you host said tailgate?
Great question. So I get a free parking pass, and it's in the McLaren structure, which is on the other side of Comerica Park, which is great. But you can't tailgate almost anywhere downtown. I don't know if you know that. That's why Eastern Market's always so popular, because you could tailgate anywhere in Eastern Market. Those park right surface lots
You can't tailgate.
can't tailgate.
Right.
Can't tailgate. There's some in Greektown. So I found a lot across at Madison and John R. across from the DAC. It's the Opera House surface lot. There's a structure for the Opera House, and then there's a surface lot. And it was expensive, but I sold my parking pass, and I bought the Opera House surface lot, and we had a really good tailgate. We had a TV with Red Zone going for the 4 o'clock games. We had a great spread, pizza, pigs in a blanket, taquitos, wings, the whole nine. And then I loaded my frunk, which I never, like, the only thing the Mach-E frunk can
What's a
use for.
fucking frunk?
I have a front trunk.
What is that?
There's no
no
engine.
motor.
There's no engine. So it's
Electric
just
cars have
space.
Motors, so the front.
yeah.
So it's just
Front
space.
or front.
So mine's a cooler, and I loaded it with booze, high noons, beer, the whole nine, and it all went. And I told a lot of people to come, and it was great. It was we had a lot of fun, and then just walked over to the game. Yeah, I had an absolute blast. Yesterday was a dream. It was my favorite tailgate, one of my favorite regular season games. It was a lot of fun. Good
Long
weekend.
time listener in the chat, Joe Venditti. Nice work, Z's.
Thanks, Joe.
They were tailgating yesterday. There was some tailgating.
Where'd you go, Bruce?
Some parking lot. I don't know.
All right.
It was right next to the DAC, right across from where you were.
Yeah, it sounds like you were exactly where I was if we were next to the DAC.
Bruce, what happened to you?
The bachelor party happened to me.
Bachelor party happened to him. Bruce got bachelor partied.
But it wasn't the alcohol in the regular, typical bachelor party. Caught a virus.
You know how many bachelor parties have you fucking been to?
Well, I'm assuming normally if you're sick from a bachelor party, it's, alcohol induced. or drugs induced. No, I just caught a virus.
Farm animals.
The hills of fucking Kentucky got to me.
Okay.
All that fresh air killed you, huh?
We know what we're here for. We're going to start out the show today, get right into it. First things first, last night, Sunday Night Football live from Ford Field, obviously. Lions take down the Rams in overtime, and I do believe we have 5 things. Do we have 5 things?
We sure do.
It's Zolo's 5 things.
You have the drop?
I do have.
Hell yeah. The drop's back.
Drop back.
Thing number 1, Uncle Sam's going to love this. Ben Johnson was atrocious last night.
Can't disagree.
Atrocious.
Can't disagree.
If you have a good offensive coordinator, when things are going poorly for St. Brown and Laporta, when you have guys that are that good, 2 all-pro pass catchers last year, you need to find ways to scheme them open. That wasn't done. Number 2, which you're going to love even more, Uncle Sam, they went away from their identity until the last drive and until the overtime drive. Run the fucking football.
Been saying that for over a year.
Run the football. I'll tell you what happened. They went 3 and out the first drive of the game. Whatever. Script, it's fine. They got scared because the 2 rookies, the 2 Florida State rookies for the Rams, bullied the Lions' offensive line. Braden Fisk and Jared Verse. Caused a lot of problems. So he stopped running the ball up the middle after that, and they were throwing, and the run plays were going to the outside. And you have David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, who are both bastards between the tackles. They can do whatever they want, and they weren't doing it. That's on Ben Johnson. Go ahead. You're rubbing your face. Let's hear it.
Right.
Let's hear it.
No, I agree.
I know you agree, but I
with
want to
what
hear
you're saying.
more. I want to hear why.
I think Byron Young. He owned fucking Taylor Decker yesterday.
Yeah.
Taylor Decker was awful yesterday.
He was on his ass at least on
nobody's
3
even talking about
on 3 occasions. Taylor
listen to
Decker
me.
was on his
I've
ass.
listened to the fucking radio all day today. Nobody talked about Taylor Decker getting fucking owned.
I
I'm
will
with you.
say, I
Nobody.
thought the Rams' defensive front was one of the most impressive I saw all day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, listen,
it was
they're
incredible.
no joke.
It was
They were in
incredible.
Goff's head.
Their linebacker, that Reader guy, is a fucking
Guy was
monster.
good. He had a big game
That guy's
yesterday.
a fucking monster.
They didn't have Aaron Donald, and their defensive line was better,
I
than
agree.
it did in January.
Yep, I was going to say the same thing.
Looked better. I thought the Rams' defense was pleasantly surprising yesterday. It's very good. If that's their defense all year and it could stay healthy, like
You know what?
they're gonna have a shot to win that division.
Goff was a little off.
Goff was
He
off.
was off big time.
But I think that was Goff did. I will say I didn't think Goff looked great yesterday, but I think you have to contribute a lot of that to the fact that Rams defense played really nice.
Yeah, they weren't
played a
fucking
really
around,
nice
dude.
fucking game.
They were bringing the pressure on him too. Just about every down they were blitzing.
100%. No, I thought the Rams played really well on defense.
Real quick, we have Dan in the chat right now. I just want to give a shout out to Habibi Edition.
Habibi Edition.
Shout out to Habibi Edition.
Go follow Habibi Edition on Instagram right now.
Thing number 2, playing off the Rams defense, how good that was and how bad Ben Johnson was. I thought the Lions defense was legit as fuck yesterday. I thought the Lions defense was very good. You held the Rams to 3 points in the first half. Of course, the corners started getting picked on, and Terry and Arnold struggled when. This is the one adjustment I would make. There's no shadowing. There's no the best corner shadows the best player. The Lions defense was lining up on the side of the field, the corners. So there were times where Cooper Kupp would go over to Terry and Arnold, and that's a mismatch. Cooper Kupp is a mismatch against pretty much any corner in the league, let alone a rookie starting in his first game. And I would like a little bit of an adjustment to where Carlton Davis maybe could have gone over and shadowed Cooper Kupp. But Terry and Arnold was good. People aren't going to notice it because his second half was abysmal. Terry and Arnold was very good in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, when you're it's your first NFL game and you're spending most of the game covering Cooper Kupp,
Hell of a start.
Oh, hey, that'll help him.
I mean,
it should only
It's gonna
help
help him down the road.
It should only
Absolutely.
help. I
That
agree.
pass
with you.
interference in the end zone was bullshit.
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 That was-
there was a legal
One of 'em was,
contact
one of
at
'em
about 5-yard line. If they wanted to throw the flag on that, they could have.
Yeah.
But in the end, that wasn't pass interference.
It went
Go
both
fuck
ways.
yourself.
It
That
went
was not
both
pass
ways,
interference.
right?
Huh?
It went both ways. The pass interference, like they could have called it. Like it looked like pass interference, but at the same time, like the receiver was the cornerback was also getting grabbed and couldn't make a play.
Right.
Could've
So
went
when it
either
goes
way.
both ways, like I think he didn't get the benefit of the flag because he didn't turn around. He didn't turn his head. If he turns his head, it's no flag.
Your boy Alex Anzalone had a nice fucking
Monster game.
nice two series were real
Whole
nice.
game. I got a stat for you on Anzalone.
Oh God.
He's the 6th player in NFL history to have 10 tackles in week 1, with 3 of them being for loss. The 6th player. It hadn't happened since 2018. It's a very rare thing.
Who did
he
it,
was
man?
everywhere in run
Who
coverage.
did it in 2018?
I gotta look. I don't
There you
know.
go.
And I want to see the other 6 too. I want to see the other 5. He was everywhere in run coverage, and he was everywhere in pass coverage. He was everywhere.
His first 2 series were perfect.
I will say he was in on the ball on every single play. High school showed out last night. I will give him that.
I think that there's still some issues going on with that defensive line. The Rams were just decimated with their O-line, dude. They had lost 4 tackles. They lost a starting guard.
Oh yeah, they're fucked.
During
Their
the
offensive
game.
line's destroyed
And
off the rip.
the scariest part is they still couldn't get home.
We're still on thing 1, correct?
Thing 2 would have been I adjust on the defense, but thing 3 is it's defensive line related, but it's pro defensive line. It's
What does that mean, pro defensive line?
Aiden Hutchinson.
What about him?
Hold
dude?
on.
You'll lose the argument.
Are we going here
You're
now?
gonna lose the
Yeah,
argument.
you're
Are
gonna
we
lose
really
the
going here
argument
right now?
You're gonna lose
he,
the
He
argument.
was going up against a guy who's going to be packing groceries
Doesn't
next
matter.
fucking week.
He was going against
And
3
only had
guys.
1 sack.
On the play that he got the sack, his head's getting ripped off, which is incredible.
Oh,
He's getting
I don't
wrapped
know.
around the neck.
You know what, dude? I
Yeah,
get it. I love the motor. I love his motor. I love his fucking.
Okay.
It's just he's so out of control
Hold
when
on.
he gets to the pocket. Did you watch T.J. Watt yesterday?
TJ
Hold
Watt
on.
was good
Hold
yesterday.
on. Thank you. No.
Hold on, wait
Thank
a minute.
you.
Did you watch T.J. Watt? That is a dominant edge rusher.
Thank you.
Dominant.
And I agree. So if you go through defensive grades from the whole, hold on.
I go off what I see. I don't
just
go
go off
by
what I
fucking
see.
numbers.
But if you go off of defensive grades, out of every defensive player in the league yesterday, TJ Watt was number 1, and 1 measly point, 1.3 points behind him was Aiden Hutchinson in the number 2 spot.
Aiden
T.J.
Hutchinson.
Watt had 3 fucking sacks, a forced fumble.
But that's the only reason why he was number 1. And you're one of those people that exclusively value sacks.
TJ Watt
And
had
if you
1 sack
exclusively
yesterday.
value sacks, and that's the only thing that sets defensive linemen apart, you'll lose that argument 10 times out of 10.
Am I? I'm not going to lose that argument.
Yeah,
Hutchinson
you are the
had
only one.
more
That does it.
hurries.
Sacks mean everything.
People who know ball,
Sacks mean everything.
they mean the most. They don't mean everything. They
Hutchinson-
mean the most. They don't mean everything.
Hutchinson had more hurries, more quarterback hits, and more total tackles.
Exactly. He
More
was
quarterback
a game
hits. He also
record.
got fucking flagged for them stupid penalties.
That was a bad. That shouldn't have been a
fucking cost
flag.
them.
That shouldn't have been
That
a
was
flag.
flag, dude.
Shouldn't have been a flag.
He was late.
Shouldn't have been
He
a
was
flag.
late.
Shouldn't have been a flag.
He was
He's in when before the
was
ball
more
is
than
being
a step.
thrown.
More than a step.
Before you of all people who argues that this game's bullshit now and that they should take all that shit out and the quarterbacks are overprotected,
Yeah.
I think it would agree with it. If it wasn't Aiden Hutchinson, you would agree with it because he's in the motion going for the sack before the ball's being thrown. He was late because he got there after the ball was thrown, but you can't stop that
He
momentum.
shot him at his knees. What the fuck is that, dude?
I mean, you can't go high, you can't go
Dude, Goff
low.
didn't get one
You can't
call.
go high, you
yesterday.
can't go
Listen to
low.
me. You're not going to win this argument about Aiden Hutchinson.
No, you're not
Okay,
going to
'cause
win.
I'm fucking right.
You're not going to win.
I'm fucking right.
You're right, but
He can't get there.
You're right
What
because he
part
doesn't
of
have
that
enough
don't you
sacks.
understand?
He did. He did get there.
What? He got one.
He had a
One.
sack, and on top of that, he had fucking 11 quarterback pressures.
Okay.
That's what coaches value.
Guess what?
That's what they value.
He also got 300 fucking
Because
yards thrown
James
on
Houston
them.
had 8 sacks 2 years ago, and he can't crack the roster now because he can't do everything a normal defensive lineman needs to do.
He's coming off a fucking goddamn Achilles injury.
2 years? No, it was a broken leg. It wasn't an Achilles, and that was
Broken
a
ankle?
year ago. There's
Ankle?
no more excuses.
Can't plant if there's no ankle. All I'm going to say is this. He can't get home. This is what I'm talking about.
If he gets
This is a
one-
fucking-
hold on.
This is a problem with this whole team.
If he
It's not
finishes
just
the year,
him.
if he finishes
It's
the year
not
with
just
16
him.
sacks, are you upset?
Yeah, he had a
No,
sack. That's one
no,
a game.
He should. I
If he
want to
gets
see him
one a
do
week,
that.
are you upset?
I want to see him do that.
Does he
No.
earn his credibility?
He'll earn his credibility with me when he starts getting there on a consistent basis, like T.J. Watt, like Max Crosby, like fucking Khalil Mack. You can fucking line him up, bud. Line him up. He's
How many
not.
sacks did Max
he is
Crosby
not.
have?
He is not in that fucking class.
Cute.
How about Kayvon Thibodeau?
Oh yeah, what
About
did he
him.
do?
Just for
what did he do
shits
yesterday?
and giggles, I did look it up. Kayvon Thibodeau, PPF grade yesterday was a 58. Aiden Hutchinson was a 93.
Okay. Well, the Giants are also a dumpster fire.
We'll get into that.
You can't
Max
cherry
Crosby-
pick. You can't cherry
Max
pick.
Crosby's
What the fuck,
the third
cherry pick
highest
what?
graded.
You can't cherry pick. You can't. It's not about what's garbage and what isn't. It's
It is
about
garbage.
watching the player.
Listen, I understand that. This is what I'm fucking telling you. I watch the player. I watch him all the time.
If you
I
watch
want
him-
him to do well.
If you watched him, your interpretation yesterday would have been that he was the best player on the field for both teams, and he was.
Absolutely not.
He was. He's the
Absolutely
highest. He was
not.
one of the
I don't-
highest
I don't-
graded
I
players
don't
in
believe
the
that
league
whatsoever.
yesterday. Yes,
I don't
he was.
believe that whatsoever. I thought Byron Young was better than him.
Wasn't.
I did.
What was Byron Young's grade yesterday?
Listen,
He's also going against Taylor Decker. He wasn't going
can't
against a
cherry
third
pick.
string. Cherry pick what?
You're cherry picking things. It doesn't
This
matter who they're
asshole's
going
up against
against.
a guy that's not even going to
And
fucking
okay, the
play
counter
this
to that is Aiden Hutchinson's getting triple teamed half the time.
Oh,
Most of the
God.
time, he's getting double
Oh,
teamed.
God.
That's
Double
what I'm
teamed
saying.
what?
Oh God, I can say
What
the same
double
thing.
team?
He's getting double teamed every
I
play.
don't
He
know
gets
why.
double teamed
I don't know why.
because he's that
He
fucking
can't
good.
get there.
'Cause he
I
can't-
wouldn't
'cause
double
he-
team
'cause
him.
he's that fucking good.
He's not that good.
Thing
That's-
number
That's my
4.
whole fucking point. He's
Thing
not
number.
that good.
You'll lose 10 out of 10.
Okay.
People who know ball think you're fucking crazy every time you say that. People who actually
People that
watch
know
the game.
Ball, you think you know ball?
I sure do.
Yeah, I don't. I don't, bud.
Anyways, thing number
4.
4, it's not the same old Lions. Everyone in their right mind 2 years ago would have been going into that fourth quarter thinking, I can't wait to see how they blow this. How are they going to blow it? Whereas if you know this Lions team now, this Dan Campbell Lions team at this point, you're thinking the opposite. And I was thinking the opposite. I thought they were going to go down and score a touchdown to end the game. They didn't. People could have thought Jake Bates was going to miss the field goal. First career field goal in his life with all that pressure on him. He kicks a game tire, and then on top of that, they drove the field in overtime and scored a touchdown.
I was
to end the game.
terrified in that moment. I'm not.
Yeah, a lot of people. Why wouldn't you be? Why wouldn't you be?
Yeah.
But this is a different Lions team. This isn't the team from 2011. This isn't the team from 2014. This isn't the Patricia era. This isn't the early Campbell teams. This is a different Lions team. So I was expecting them to drive the field to go and win the game, and they did. They drove the field to tie it with all that pressure, and then they drove the field to win in overtime. And you can't really complain about that. A win is a win in the NFL against a team that was in the playoffs last year. You're going to take that 10 out of 10. You guys agree with that?
Yep.
100%. 100%.
Thing number 5, the one thing I'm sure everyone in this room can agree on right now is Jameson Williams.
Yep.
J-Mo's here. Of course, you want J-Mo to succeed while the others are also succeeding. It seemed like he was their only option yesterday. But he was really fucking good. He creates separation. He makes the catches. Just the maturity. Watching him block on the Montgomery touchdown to end the game, he's bullying Cam Curl, who's a good safety, by the way. He's bullying him. And then instead of going to celebrate with his teammates, he's such a competitor that he's just talking shit in the end zone afterward.
The whole time.
And it's cool. If they can find a way to utilize him while also getting everyone else involved, while also getting in Laporta and also getting in St. Brown, like, it's not going to make you worry that much. It's going to make you feel pretty good.
I think the Rams did a great job of containing St. Brown yesterday, and that's when you needed Jameson to step up. I will say the speed that he carries is nasty. There's one guy who I saw that ran like him yesterday, and it was Tyreek Hill on his 80-yard touchdown. That was it. He has ridiculous. If he's in the open field, there's nobody out there that's catching him. Nobody.
You like J-Mo, Uncle Sam?
Yeah. Yeah, he's finally paying off.
Yeah. This is going to
Finally paying that pick off.
There's a lot of people who are going to be high on him this year, and I think they're going to be right.
And I think we're at the floor, too.
I think David Montgomery is the MVP of this fucking team.
You don't like Gibbs? I thought Gibbs was pretty good
I
yesterday,
think David
too.
Montgomery's the MVP of the team.
Montgomery, the one thing
He makes the machine go.
When it came to crunch time, they relied on him. They put the ball in his hands, and he put the team on his back. That's what you're going to get out of him. It's not always pretty. It's not always cute.
It's not supposed to.
It's not. Yeah, it doesn't have.
It
to
is
be.
just smash mouth down. Take it down your throat.
And that's how you
Lot
open
of
up
goo.
Laporta
Lot of goo.
and St. Brown. You know, you get them. You're bullying with Gibbs and Montgomery. If everyone's doing their job properly. if you bully, you get in the short yardage situations, and you can run play action. You can run good play action if your running game is bullying them.
If it's working.
If it's working.
The problem was after Montgomery had gone out in that second quarter and they started running Gibbs more, that the play action wasn't there because I think that threat of that inside run wasn't there with Montgomery. To me, that's huge.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking Jahmyr Gibb by any means. The guy's fucking lightning fast. I get it. He just does not run in between the tackles and move the chains like Montgomery.
They're different backs. They're completely different backs.
Right.
They should both be on the field at the same time, as far as I'm
I
concerned.
think you should put fucking Gibb in the slot.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
some end around shit with him. Because that would be something to see.
You get in a wing back formation. You have one on each side. You motion Gibbs out, and I mean, I couldn't agree more. That I think there's more to be seen there too.
Yeah.
I'm with you on
I'm
Montgomery.
not a Ben Johnson guy. You know that.
I know.
So you know what I think of his performance yesterday. And it was the same dog shit we seen all last year. Fucking forget how to run the football in the second half of a
Yes,
game.
please.
Bruce, I have a question for you.
Garbage.
Hit me.
Where does Ford Field rank yesterday amongst other? Where does Ford Field rank against the Rams yesterday amongst other? We'll call it regular season games because you can't touch those playoff games.
Like fan base wise?
The vibes.
The vibes?
Yeah.
It
Everything.
was borderline that first playoff game, but I don't think it was quite that playoff game.
Yeah, but where do you regular season? Where does yesterday stand?
I mean, speak from home, it was insane.
Yeah, yesterday was batshit.
was-
It's the craziest, loudest regular season.
That's
game.
what I meant by that playoff game. It was
The
pretty
building
much
was
bad shit.
shaking. Everyone was in their
Ground was
seats
shaking.
again.
Ground was shaking.
It was Silverdome circa 1991, Uncle Sam, but not as loud, not as feral. People still foam from the mouth. Downriver still shows out for
They were
Lions.
feral.
games. Yeah,
They were feral. I like the last part of this that you have in here.
yeah.
I was at a game that was extremely loud in 1990. I can't remember.
Which one
The one with the Dallas Cowboys.
was it? The playoff one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 91.
I was at that. That was so fucking loud.
The ground was
There was
shaking.
nothing like everybody stomping on that third layer of the Silverdome, and the whole fucking stadium was shaking.
Should have fell right
If
down.
you ask the
Crazy.
people who have been season ticket holders back to Briggs Stadium, I mean, up until those two playoff games, but they'll always reference the 91 Cowboys playoff game as
Fair.
That and
the
the Monday
peak
night
moment.
game, the Monday night game with Barry Sanders and Bo Jackson.
We have a lot more
Another-
games.
It's crazy, crazy game.
We have a lot more games to talk about.
Yeah.
So, real quick. After last night, do you think the Rams are a playoff team?
Yes.
Yeah, I think the Rams are really good. I think they're really
If they can get their offensive line issues straightened out, I think they're a playoff contender.
You have Puka Nacua out 4 to 6 weeks. He's on IR, minimum of 4. Their offensive line is decimated week 1. Right now I'm gonna say no, because if we jump back to last week, I had the Packers. I had the Packers beating them for that playoff spot, and we'll get to that. But I don't know if I see that anymore. But right now, I'm going to say that I don't think this Rams team.
With Kupp looking the way he does and Stafford slinging that ball, they got a chance.
That's what I was gonna say.
got a fucking
It's still McVay, Cup, and Stafford, number one. My counter to what you said, number two. Look who
That
they
defense is going to get better.
look who it's gonna get back. They're young.
Yeah.
They were young last year. Look who they brought to overtime yesterday.
I know.
They brought a really good team to overtime on the road yesterday. I think the Rams. I thought it going in, but I think they're gonna have a shot to win the division, not just make the playoffs.
The only thing I'm worried about is that if the injury bug is this bad week 1, at what point does it get worse?
Well, we don't know where their status is on the two tackles that basically were scratches yesterday. So we got to see what's going to happen with.
Well, the one's suspended. They're gonna get Aldrick
Right.
Robinson back, right? Avila got carted off.
Yes. Oh,
I don't know.
and
He was the guard that went out.
Yeah.
you have to remember this too. And I know he tried to play it cool. I think Stafford wanted that game so badly. So badly. He looked like he had ice in his veins, but he wanted that game that team wanted that game so badly.
Yeah.
I really think so. Anything else on this, or are we moving on?
Cousin Steven wants down the road. We'll do it. We'll Montgomery versus Gibbs debate. We'll pick who goes against Uncle Sam to defend Jahmyr Gibbs.
Right now?
No. We don't have the time.
But real
today.
quick, right now, if I had to pick one or the other, I think I'm going to pick Montgomery.
Yeah, I've been saying you can't live without David Montgomery because you have there's a Gibbs replacement in Sione Vaki on the roster right now. You know,
he makes the machine go. Without him, it doesn't work.
You need both backs at the end of the day.
Yes.
Okay, I'll say this. I think Gibbs is more replaceable
Yeah,
than Montgomery.
very fair. That's a good way to put it.
Moving on, we're going way back to Thursday night football, all the way back. Can you remember that far back?
Yeah.
Okay. The Chiefs hosted the Ravens at Arrowhead, and the Chiefs came out on top. Few points from this game. I thought both teams played pretty well.
For first game of the year, yeah.
For first game of the year, I thought both teams played pretty well. I always liked the Ravens defense. I thought the Ravens defense had a nice game. Couple questions, though. Are the Chiefs better than they were last year?
Yes.
100%.
Yes.
All across the board.
As awful as it is to admit it, I think they are too. And I didn't think that was going to be the case, but I think they are too.
They can hang on to Rice if he doesn't get suspended.
They're saying that's not going to go to court till
December,
It'll be next season.
Which, by the way, how does Rashee Rice get to blow away all these people and almost kill people in a car and not get suspended at all? And then Jameson Williams got suspended 3 games for gambling last year. How does that make any sense?
But he didn't.
Who?
Williams. He got suspended on a bullshit call.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. How does this guy get to play when he was literally caught red-handed?
Because
we can do this all day. I'm sorry.
We're gonna go there.
Yeah.
You know why?
Roger.
You know why?
Roger and me.
Roger. Fucking joke.
Yes, Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are better than last year.
Okay. Are they? I loved watching Xavier.
Worthy reminds me a lot of
Xavier.
Jameson Williams.
Yeah. It was. He is going to be a big deal for
His
that.
perfect utilization.
Okay. So we all agree.
Yeah.
We're all in agreement there.
Yeah.
Second question. Baltimore had a lot of changes, especially in the offensive line.
Derrick Henry was a fucking monster.
Derrick Henry's a fucking animal, and he looks good in a Ravens
I told
uniform.
you he might get fucking comeback player of the year.
He looks good in a
He's
Ravens
a
uniform,
monster.
dude, and he played well. But
They got behind early, and that's what kind of mollified the Derrick Henry.
I did not think Lamar looked fantastic.
In the second half, I thought he looked fucking
In the
fantastic.
first half of that game,
Yeah.
it was not great. The
Well,
second
yeah,
half,
come out, he was a
played
little-
better.
Yeah.
Do we think that the Ravens are still there?
The Ravens should win their division.
If we're going by week 1, for sure they should win their division.
They should win their division.
And I thought their second half was outstanding on Thursday night. I thought they were all around, defensively and offensively.
With Cincinnati, they're started out like they do every year. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised.
We'll
if they
get
go
there.
0-3.
That's in here.
Correct.
That's in here. We'll get there.
Right. But I still think they're, as of right now, they're the class of the division.
I wouldn't worry about that.
I agree for a few reasons, and we'll get into them. They probably will win their division. I'm already jumping ship on that. But I don't think they end up where they did last year. I don't think they're that.
The Ravens?
Yeah.
Well, just in general, bigger picture conversation, and it's applicable to the Lions as well. It's hard to go back to the championship game after you lost it. The Bills have been trying to do it since 2020.
The Chiefs are better than they were last year. I don't know if the Ravens are.
Yeah, that's fair. But that's
The
still
road to the Super Bowl goes through Kansas City.
yes.
Period.
And just because the Ravens aren't as good as they were last year, and I agree with you because their offensive line's garbage. That doesn't mean they can't figure it out and recreate the wheel.
Like if they didn't have Derrick Henry, it would be bad. Like if they still had the Gus Edwards show going on, they would have issues.
I don't know. Those boys look pretty good. Yes.
Aha, one of those boys.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there. Next up, Friday night football from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Eagles hosted the Packers. And if you're a Packers fan,
That was a fun game.
it was a fun game. And it
tell
was
you
the opposite. I expected that game to be under.
Same. We
all-
all
Packers are staying 2 hours away from the stadium.
Yeah.
They're a million miles away from home. I did not expect that out of that football game. I'll say that much.
It was chaos.
I didn't think Jalen Hurts looked very good in this game.
Did you think Jordan Love looked really good?
I didn't think Jordan Love, before he died, looked very good in that game either. Realistically, for the Eagles, I'm going to redact something else that I said where Saquon Barkley, I didn't know if he was the biggest signing of the offseason. He was by leaps and bounds the biggest signing of the offseason. That offense is going to run around him, but I think that the reason why it is because I don't think Jalen Hurts is as good as everybody thought he was.
He doesn't have to be.
Now he doesn't have to be.
Now
he doesn't have
with
to be.
Saquon, he doesn't have to.
All he
doesn't
needs
have
to do, they need to run the fucking football, a little play action off that, and you got two viable wide receivers that'll make plays and get the ball in the end zone. And that's all you need. And play some solid D. That's it.
Do we think, after 1 week, that Hurts's mediocrity, I don't want to say he's bad, but I saw mediocrity. Do we think that we're going to see any improvement on him throughout the year? Do we know what he is?
so.
And is it going to cost them come playoff time?
No. No, I don't think so.
No, I think he gets better. I think they win the division. They had a really gutsy win, and there's nowhere to go but up from them. The first thing he said, he's the first person to win a game in the Southern Hemisphere. And he goes, well, I'm also the first person to turn the ball over in the South. Like he's self-aware, which is what I love about Jalen Hurts. And he doesn't have to be the running back anymore. They have
That's gonna
pieces.
help him.
It's only going to help him, and there's nowhere to go but up. Like the turnovers were bad turf and breaking in Jordan Mailata at
My
center.
God, dude.
Yeah.
The fucking soccer fields, dude, they have no fucking room in professional football.
My man's a huge
They
soccer
don't.
fan.
They don't.
Yeah.
You seen those guys? I was surprised more people didn't go out hurt.
Yeah.
Well, there was one big one. That was Jordan Love. It's an MCL injury, 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah. Trying to blame Jalen Carter for that.
Yeah, fuck that.
What is this? What does the next month look like for the Packers without Jordan Love?
Well, if they put
have the
Malik
schedule.
Willis in there, is that who's
It is Malik Willis.
Malik
is
Willis?
They just said LaFleur said it an hour ago. It's Malik Willis.
They got two choices. Either you run Josh Jacob till he dies,
Dies.
or you're not going to win a fucking game the next 4 weeks.
Is it insane for me to say, okay, we're
Run it. Do all 6 weeks. I did it earlier today.
at home against the Colts? That's a loss.
I don't know about a loss. It's a tough game. Tough game.
At Tennessee,
Tough game.
Malik Willis revenge game.
Wow.
Tough game no matter what.
At home against Minnesota,
On
that's a loss.
On paper, this is the easiest of all the games in that stretch, and it still might be a loss.
On paper, that's a loss. At the Rams, that's a loss.
Loss.
At home against Arizona,
Again, same drill. That's going to be an extremely tough game for them.
and then at home against Houston. They could,
Extremely
if he's
tough
out
game.
6 weeks, they could go best bet 1-5.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Season's
they
over.
I think
I
they
wouldn't
need to
worry
find a
about
way to win
that.
2. They need to find a way to win 2 of those.
They have to at least 2.
Yeah.
At least 2. What did we think of it? I mean, game in Brazil, both teams played. I mean, there was a lot of offense in this game, which we don't. The London games all are usually a tad boring. I know there was one last year where they lit it up a little bit, but what did we think of it
No, this was the best game that I've seen.
internationally?
International game that they've had.
The game itself, it's up there. I thought the vibes were atrocious, and it's because Brazil's just got their own problems right now. Like they're trying to oust their president. They protested the next day. The Packers being 2 hours away from the stadium's insane. The safety issues. The beat writers couldn't tweet. Did you see the beat writers would have to text their wives, and their wives were tweeting the pictures and the scores because Twitter's banned in Brazil right now. Just little shit like that. And that ain't great. And the NFL has taken a lot of heat because the crowd was, even though it was full, the crowd wasn't as into it as they should have been. And on top of that, just the vibes were bad. Like it didn't look as cool as it. Like when I see Germany on TV and when I see London on TV, they make it look really cool. They didn't make Brazil look cool, and Brazil is cool. So I have a weird feeling that they're gonna not go back. Like even Mexico City, like it looks and seems sweet when they go there. I know you agree with that.
Yep.
Brazil didn't seem like that, in my opinion.
No, I agree. One other interesting thing to note about this Green Bay situation right now, Malik Willis is the only healthy quarterback on the roster.
What about Sean Clifford or whatever?
Yeah, he's practice squad, no?
He's on the
Well, they gotta elevate
They
him.
haven't brought him up yet.
They got to elevate him.
So they're going to have to at least bring somebody else up. Moving on. Battle. Divisional battle in the NFC South. The Saints hosted Carolina. I believe did I pick Carolina in this game? I believe
might have
I
said it was
did.
going to be close.
I think I picked Carolina in this game.
I'm high. Or I was high on the
was
Panthers.
high.
I took the Saints, I thought.
I think you did pick the Saints. The Saints absolutely throttled the Panthers, 47-10. We can have this debate after the next one.
Who had the better start? Fucking, the fuck is his name? Derek Carr or fucking
Baker
Sam Darnold?
Okay.
and Baker in that
Let's-
conversation. too.
I want to pump the brakes here for a second, okay? I want to pump the brakes. I am still not sold on the fact that the New Orleans Saints are a good football team or a playoff football team. I'm not. I think Carolina is so fucking bad. I think Bryce Young will probably be one of the bigger whiffs. Like, it's not there. It's not there for him. He had 161 yards and 2 interceptions yesterday. They were in disarray the whole game.
How many times was he sacked?
Honest to God, I don't even know. I don't know. I have to look that up.
I had just heard a blurb from Pete Prisco on Pardon My Take the other day about how the Saints' defensive line is just all old now too, and they were lighting it up
He got sacked 4 times.
a lot.
They're just bad. Like, Carolina's bad. Carolina is where I thought New Orleans.
Who's the coach there?
Dennis Allen, in New Orleans or
Oh,
Carolina. It's Dave Canales. He was Carroll's guy for years.
You
and
think
offensive
he's
coordinator.
gonna make it out of the year?
He'll make it out of the year for sure because you can't just that would be the 3rd straight year that they fire a first year head coach. They cannot afford to do that. They just did that last year. They fired what's his face in the middle of the season last year after hiring him.
Yeah, because that one guy was the intern.
Yeah, he's still on the staff now.
Yeah.
Who's the guy that they fired last year? And they fired Matt Rule 2 years ago.
I'm not sure. But there's one, I don't even know if you could call it a glimmer of hope, because I thought these two teams played each other yesterday, and I thought that it was an okay game. They play the Chargers and the Raiders the next two.
The Panthers do?
Yeah.
Hey, if you can get back on track, those are 2 teams you can at least attempt to get back on track against.
Yeah, that's the only good thing. But right now, I think Carolina is the second worst
They're in
team
trouble.
football.
Yeah. Behind fucking the Giants.
Getting more specific, Bryce Young. Where are we at?
They can't protect him. They can't protect him. They can't run. They can't do anything. It's offensively they're stagnant.
I think if you go about this stretch that you just named, the Chargers-Raiders stretch, if he doesn't look serviceable in that stretch, like if you don't see the growth and the improvement, I think you have a problem going into October. I think it's a storyline going into October.
Yeah.
On the other side of that coin, Derek Carr had 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
He looked good from what I've seen.
Are we back in on Derek Carr?
No, because they're playing Carolina.
I'm not either.
Yeah, I got to see more.
I
Bigger body of work.
I got to see more against a good team.
Bigger body work. Credit last year, the thing on the Saints, I said it a million times, they had no identity offensively. Right. They had a little bit of an identity offensively yesterday.
Yes.
A little bit.
Anything else from this one? Rashid Shaheed, top 10 receiver to finish the year?
Probably.
I'm going to pass on that.
You are. You're not sold on the Rashid Shaheed train yet?
Not right now, no.
God knows what could happen.
That's all he does every year.
From the team that I believe is the second worst team in football to the team that I believe is the worst team in football, we head to MetLife Stadium, where the Giants hosted the Vikings yesterday. And the Vikings let Kirk Cousins go, drafted their quarterback. He's done. And somehow Sam Darnold puts together a 28-6 victory over the Giants. If you are a New York Giants fan right now, what do you even do? They were burning Daniel Jones jerseys in the parking lot after the game.
Some people were doing it before the game.
They booed him off the fucking field.
My
We're
man-
in year 6.
My man was headed to his fucking car leaving the stadium.
And they waited.
And they were just hammering him.
They
Talking
waited.
about take your money and run.
That contract, I think when we take a step back and look back, that could be one of the worst decisions in
Woat.
modern
But
football.
here we
Worst
go
of all
again. He
time.
was
Worst
sacked
of all time.
He was sacked 6 times.
Yeah, but hold
yesterday.
on.
I mean, come on,
Hold
dude.
on. It wasn't even, he just looked bad, dude. And he has never looked good. That's the thing. They paid him and he has never looked good. Never looked good. They are fucked with a capital F. Fucked.
If you can't figure it out against this Vikings team,
Yeah.
it might be tough to figure it out.
I'll tell you
might
what,
be
that
tough.
Vikings defense came to play yesterday, and Sam Darnold was lights out.
Sam Darnold was 19 to 24 for 208 and 2,
That's a good game.
which is mind blowing.
That's a good game.
But
No.
I don't know.
Give him his flowers. He's been pumping Sam Darnold for 2 years. He's been pumping him up.
Hold on. As much as you want to say that the Vikings defense looked great, they were going up against what I think we can say now is the worst looking offense that we saw all week yesterday. And on top of that,
I don't know about that.
all those pieces that we saw on defense that they added made no impact for the Giants yesterday. None.
They were awful.
None. Their defense is awful. Their offense is awful. They are fucking awful. They're putrid.
Does Brian Dabo make it to fucking week 7?
It's a shame because he's a really good coach.
I don't think he does.
I think he's a really good coach that's saddled with a GM that doesn't know shit about fuck, especially if you're watching him on Hard Knocks.
Really?
Oh yeah, I think that giving Daniel Jones the money was a pivotal moment from the franchise. They didn't want. He inherited Daniel Jones, had a chance to get out of it, and he didn't want egg on his face by letting him walk away because they had spent a first-round
Right.
pick on him. And you could only get
But
worse
I
at quarterback.
think them being out of the quarterback race made them fucking take him.
Made them take who?
Daniel Jones. Them being out of the sweepstakes for who they wanted made them fucking take this.
They took him high though, didn't they? Didn't they take him like in the top 5? Daniel Jones?
No, what I'm saying is that Daniel Jones they wanted to replace him, but they couldn't get there.
Yeah.
They didn't want to spend the
I agree.
assets
I think they would
to
have pulled.
fucking get
I think they would have pulled the trigger on a quarterback, but you're in the draft this year.
Correct.
I agree.
Correct.
But I think they should have moved on from him last year when they paid him before last season. He won one. It's the oldest trick in the book. He won one playoff game.
Here you go. I mean, well, outside him, what's your option?
Hold on.
They should have drafted someone last year. I think
should've.
that's what they
That
should have
neighbor's
did.
pick was a fucking waste.
No, not 2024.
Even that pick.
Not
was a waste.
2024 because you had already committed to what's his face at that
Yeah, but
point.
cut
You'd
the
already
losses.
committed to Daniel Jones. They shouldn't have signed him. Like it
By-
goes back to then. Joe Shane didn't draft him, but he had an opportunity to move on from him and he didn't because he won one playoff game and it's a scary thought.
I'm gonna say this.
a lot of
right
money.
now. This is the upcoming schedule for the Giants: at Washington, at Cleveland, at home against Dallas, at Seattle, at home against Cincy, at home against Philly, and then at Pittsburgh on October 28th. By Halloween, Daniel Jones is out, and so is Brian Dabble. They will have Tommy fucking DeVito and his parents cooking cutlets in the parking
Tommy
lot.
Cutlets.
Back in
Fucking Bruce
you
Cutlets.
can't. They are going to lose the fan base, the locker room, everybody, and it's hard to sound the alarm like that after week 1. You can sound. They were that fucking bad.
Yeah.
They were that bad.
That Commanders game is big. That's a
Next
big game
week,
for both teams. It's
They
big.
have to look decent. At least
No, they got to
decent.
win because that's one of the easiest games left on their schedule.
Right.
Is playing the Commanders twice.
I don't think they win.
I agree with you.
I don't think
The
they will.
effort they gave yesterday, offensively and defensively, doesn't beat the Commanders.
Are we worried at all about the Vikings?
No, I want to see what they do against a non-Giants.
With what happened to the Packers, could we see them finishing second in the division?
Dude, it's crazy because Chicago didn't look good yesterday either.
Chicago did not look good yesterday.
So I don't know. If Sam Darnold obviously has to hold serve, right? And the defense has to be good against teams that are much better than the Giants.
Right.
So I think there's not enough information on the Vikings. Good for them though. That's a good win that they needed and a confidence builder, and you can build on that. They're a good organization with good pieces.
Moving on.
Moving on. this was my biggest surprise of the weekend. The Patriots headed to Cincy to play the Bengals.
It's the biggest surprise of the weekend.
Biggest surprise of the fucking weekend here.
You said it'd be close. You said the Patriots were going to keep it close.
And I said
I said they would
fucking
cover.
crazy. I said he was fucking crazy. Patriots beat the Bengals at home, 16-10. T. Higgins didn't play in this game. Joe Burrow couldn't get anything done. The Bengals really couldn't run the ball. Ramondre Stevenson went off. All that aside, Jamar Chase suited up. He was 6 for 62. Is this a thing with the Bengals? Like, you got Higgins out. Burrow didn't look great. There's issues with Chase. Like,
That Joe Burrow isn't that good of a quarterback.
Joe Burrow, we've seen Joe Burrow.
You saw
be really
2
good.
years of him being an okay quarterback.
And then he was injured last year.
So, Stafford's been injured. Goff's been injured. Plenty of quarterbacks have been injured. Still play ball.
But Burrow didn't play.
Joe Burrow needs one wide receiver to look okay.
What are you?
I'm just saying Joe Burrow's not a
going
good
with
quarterback.
I don't understand what
Joe
you're
Burrow's
talking
not a good quarterback. Move on.
I got a question for all of you on the Bengals. I know where you're going to lean on this, but I still want to hear your response. You picked the Bengals to win the division, so I'm really curious to hear your response. Yeah. Is this typical slow start, or is there something bigger? Are the Bengals actually bad?
Typical slow start. They'll have it suited up by week 4.
Slow start.
I'm taking the counterpoint. I'm taking the bait there. I think the Bengals are actually bad and talent depleted.
Really?
I think they're talent depleted. If they do right the ship, it's because Joe Burrow is going to light it the fuck up.
Right.
It's because he evolves into MVP Joe Burrow. That's the only way I could see this, is if he puts the city on his back. It's the only way I could see this righted, because I don't think they're talent rich, and I think their locker room's in shambles.
Mixon to bail them out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they got worse at running back. Their tight ends aren't great. I think their defense is a little depleted. You know, you held the Patriots to 16 points. That's the Patriots. You got to go against Lamar at some point. You got to go against, in their division. But their division's easy. But you get the gist. I think there's more. I think there might be more to it than this. I think it might be a little bit more than a slow start. Because there's no reason for Joe, even if T. Higgins is out, there's no reason for Joe Burrow to have started slow.
No.
And he started slow.
I don't know why. For some reason, they do every year.
Since Joe Burrow's been quarterback,
Thank you, Jack.
They start out the same way every year.
They do. I think they get this.
That one year they lost their first fucking 4 games.
Right.
Still went to the playoffs.
I think they get it sorted out. I still think they get it sorted out.
They better.
Yeah, they better. I mean, real quick, jumping ahead, they're at Kansas City this week, so they're gonna go 0-2 because that team they trotted out there yesterday,
Burrowhead
fucking ran out of.
That's
the stadium.
Burrowhead you're talking about. That's
right?
a home game for them.
The only nice thing is they have a little bit of prep before they play Baltimore with Washington and Carolina. And if those 2 games, they should run them out of the fucking stadium. If they don't do that, and they're not 2-2 going into their first divisional game against Baltimore, there's a bigger issue there, and I will hop on with you there.
Fair.
The counterpoint to this is New England won a football game, and everybody thought that was going to come very few and far between this year. Does this change?
I told you what they have.
Whatever.
Hold on. Let me finish. They have a good defense, and they run a fucking
They
football.
don't have a good defense.
And guess what? That'll win you some games.
They don't have a good
That's going to win you.
That's the
They
recipe.
do.
They don't have a good defense.
That's a recipe to win football.
Defense wins championships.
Michigan football.
They used to win championships, not anymore.
New England.
I still
doesn't have
think
a
that
good
counts.
Do you
I still think it
do you
does.
think this can continue? Do you think they could build on this, or do you think this says? I think this game said more about the Bengals than it did about the Patriots. But I know you guys disagree with that.
I think
No,
this.
I agree
I
with
think
that.
this was the biggest fluke of the weekend. Like I think that the Bengals are a much better team than the Patriots. I still think the Patriots are dog shit, but you're gonna get a fluke, and this was your fluke.
You never know. They could go on a run.
But how?
What do you mean how?
How? They can't go on a run
They could.
because if you make Jacoby Brissett throw the fucking ball, I got news for you. It's not gonna end well. Okay.
Guess what?
Guess what? If you don't let Ramondre Stevenson take over the game like Saquon Barkley, it ain't gonna go well for you.
Right.
So I think we're all squared away on
We need to revisit.
that one's the big question mark right now. I will say that. That one's the biggest question mark. Next up, the Steelers headed down to Atlanta to play the Falcons with their shiny new quarterback, Kirk Cousins, and they did not score a touchdown
Yeah, he did. Oh, the Steelers didn't.
Steelers didn't score a touchdown,
Sorry.
but they won the game. They won the game on 6 field goals to win 18-10. Justin Fields started at quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but Russell Wilson was inactive, but fully suited up on the sidelines.
That didn't seem weird to anybody.
He was a scratch, but he was fully suited up.
I think he almost played. We found out the night before, but maybe if it was one of those if something happens to Fields type.
No, but he
things.
was inactive.
Can't you elevate though, like emergency situation?
I don't think so.
No.
He was on the scratch list, and he was fully suited up on the sideline. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Right.
This game was a I don't know. This game mind fucked me because there's no way Pittsburgh should have won this game. They didn't do much offensively. Justin Fields didn't look good. But the other side of that, Kirk Cousins didn't look good either.
He threw 2 picks.
He didn't look good at all.
He threw 2 picks and he was sacked how many times?
I will say Arthur Smith did get a win in Atlanta. Kirk Cousins 155 yards, a touchdown, and a pick, 59 QBR. Bijan averaged 3.5 yards per carry. I mean, that offense did not look good. What do we have here now, though? Everybody was extremely high on Atlanta. Everybody thought this was going to be the year they got it figured out. They got their guy. I'm sure you're loving this right now because, Kirk Cousins puts together a stretch of games like this. You're going to see Michael Penix.
I hope so.
Does this change anybody's mind about Atlanta?
Michael Penix, best player in college football
No,
last year.
it's Steelers D. They got what they wanted. They got a rock fight out of it, and when they get in rock fights, they typically win. This is their game, and it's atrocious to watch, and it makes you wonder if they had a good offense, how great this would be, how good the Steelers team would be. It's just a rock fight. I'll bet Kirk Cousins is also notorious for starting slow too.
Yeah,
So
that is true.
I'll bet he writes this
but
at some point.
1 o'clock, and he never loses at 1
It's
o'clock.
at home
It's
too.
at 1 o'clock.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried about that. I think the
Okay.
Falcons are going to right the ship.
Okay. If Russell Wilson actually is injured, which I think, in my opinion, that's a 1-week situation. Do they go with Justin Fields if Russell Wilson's
what?
healthy?
No, if he's healthy, he's starting.
Well, you do know they
You've
play.
seen that.
They play at Denver next week.
Okay.
That's the Russell Wilson revenge game.
All I can say is watch out for Russ.
You think he's going to be dangerous?
You don't think he wants a piece of fucking Sean Payton?
I think he might.
I definitely think it's still Russell Wilson's team until it's not, and an injury doesn't make it that it's not type. I think he's got to play and lose the job. It's his job to lose.
It's his.
He's still forget the past. Like even last year, he's still more serviceable than Justin Fields.
Hypothetically, if Fields would have went out there and been a world beater yesterday, would you still feel the same way?
No,
So Justin Fields played just piss poor enough for Russell Wilson to keep.
no. I think Justin Fields had a chance. If he played well, I
got
think he had a
question.
chance
Who's
to
better,
do it.
Justin Fields or Malik Willis?
We'll find
Justin
out.
Fields.
We'll find out next
Fields.
week.
Oh my God, I'm surprised you're not big on Malik Willis.
When I watched tape of him, one pass looked fucking beautiful downfield. The next one was fucking 5 rows up into the seats. He was awful. Awful.
All right, let's move it on. We have another divisional game here to talk about. Probably, again, one of my most fun games to watch this weekend. It was Texans and Colts. Battle for that.
Knew it would
AFC
be
South.
too. Knew it would. Knew it would.
Knew
be
it would
good.
be. I think we said this.
We were 50-50. I thought this was one of the games of the weekend,
Oh, I agree.
and it lived up.
Texans get one by a hair, 29-27. This was, again, a fun game to watch. I think that the Colts really showed that this is not Houston's division to run with. They're going to compete. I still think Houston is a touch better. I mean, Joe Mixon, my God. He slid in a little bit of fantasy leagues.
He's not fucking washed up, is he?
He went below his ADP by quite a bit in our league, and I know he slid a little bit there towards the end. Anybody who picked him up, My God.
No, he was supposed to. People knew he would have a big year because it's the same. It's the same. He's Derrick Henry, poorer version of Derrick Henry. It was a team that struggled in the red zone last year. The Texans, they weren't great in the red zone, and now they have a finisher in the red zone. Like if they want to run the ball, they don't have to hand it to Dameon Pierce anymore. So they have a guy that can finish. And not only was he finishing in the red zone, he got his 1 touchdown, but he was also able to do a lot of damage between the tackles in between. So I think it's a perfect recipe, and I think he's going to do great things there, Joe Mixon. He'll top 5 running back.
100%.
Yeah.
He finished.
Or excuse me, top 10.
I think, honestly, God, I'm willing to say top 5. Joe Venditti in the chat says that he loves your Mel Gibson shirt.
Shout out to Joe. Shout out to Cam. What up, Cam? Brendan, no, I don't think you have to be worried about Chris Olave.
No, I just saw that comment too. No, you don't have to. You don't have to be worried about him any more than you would have been before the season started.
Yeah, I think Chris Olave. It doesn't matter who throws to him. His target share is so high. He's going to be fine.
Anthony Richardson.
Real deal.
Right now, if you're talking fantasy football, are we taking Anthony Richardson or C.J. Stroud?
Anthony Richardson.
You are.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
There's still one thing I don't like about him, and he's just too. He's too reckless when he's.
You think he's going to get his head bashed
Yes, he gets too reckless running the ball, and I said that last year. The way he plays is all out, and playing that way, I don't give a fuck if you're 6'4" and 250. Eventually, it will come back and fucking haunt you, a la Cam Newton.
The ghost of Stephon Diggs had 2 touchdown catches yesterday. He was seen bitching on the sideline about his target share off the rip.
Whatever.
I still, in my idea, this is the best receiving room in the NFL.
It seemed largely unaffected by the addition of Gibbs or of Diggs as well.
Yeah, no.
Like Nico
He
Collins
fell
picked
right
up right where he left off.
He fell right into his spot. Tank Dell is a perfect compliment, and Diggs was a red zone target. And I think it works really well. I like it. And I think
he keeps his
do
fucking
awesome
shit
things.
together and stuff.
Yeah, just shut the fuck up,
Stop
dude.
causing
Just
problems.
shut the fuck up. If he does that,
Fucking cancer.
right? If he does that, it'll all work. It'll all work, and it'll work nicely for them. Just shut up. I think that division is going to just be an absolute foot race to the end between both those teams. This game surprised me too. Arizona headed up to Buffalo. Uncle Sam picked Arizona in this game.
They had their foot on their neck and couldn't.
They should have won. The Cardinals should have won that.
Buffalo squeaks this one out, 34-28. Wow.
By the way, our friend to the show, Devin Stills, he played in that game.
Dante Stills.
Dante Stills,
Dante
whatever
Stills.
his name is. He fucking had a few good plays in that game. I was impressed. Pushing the pocket, baby. Pushing the pocket.
Josh Allen did some Josh Allen things to get them a win in this game. He looked pretty damn good in the second half of that game yesterday.
But he was utter dog shit.
It was utter dog shit in the first half. Honestly, the Bills, to me, were utter dog shit in the first half. They turned it on halfway through that second quarter.
I'm surprised you're not talking about your boy Mac Hollins.
Mac Hollins, dude. Mac Hollins, 2 for 25 and a tud yesterday. I love me some Mac Hollins. I should have drafted
He's wearing
him.
13. Everybody thought he was Gabe Davis.
I should have drafted him. Keon Coleman, nice rookie start, 51 yards. I wasn't very high on Arizona. I think you guys were both higher on Arizona than I was.
Okay.
I'm extremely high on Arizona.
I mean, how high? Over under win total, how high?
Playoff team. Over under 9.5. I'm taking the over.
Wow.
Yeah. Over under 8.5.
They're only going to get better.
Yeah.
They're only going to get better.
You think they're a 9-win team?
Yes.
Wow.
They didn't even play well yesterday in Buffalo, and they almost won.
Is it? I don't want to get ahead of myself here. Buffalo, those are the games that the good Buffalo teams ran out of the building. So are we right in saying that if Arizona's a 9-win team, Buffalo's a 9-win team? Or did they show you something yesterday that could make you think that they are going to still win this division?
No, I thought Buffalo actually, good on them. It was another gutsy win. and they beat a good team in my opinion. That yesterday's like you're looking at it a different lens. You're looking at it maybe as Buffalo got pushed and they shouldn't have. I'm looking at it as the Lions beating the Rams. I think Buffalo beat a very good team yesterday, and they went up a notch in my book because of it. Because I think the Cardinals are going to be very good. I think they're fringe playoff. I think they're probably a 9-win team, and they're going to play teams tough. And they had him, and Buffalo came back and beat him, and they did it in a different way. So good for the Bills. I mean, it's a big win. It's a good week one win.
I think we need to see how bad, because we saw the Dolphins, and we're going to get into that game next. But I think we need to see how bad the Jets play tonight.
That's another team that didn't wake up till the end of the game.
Well, let's go right into it. Jacksonville headed down to South Beach to play Miami. Tyreek Hill got arrested for reckless driving before the game. He was punched in the face by a Miami-Dade police officer, taken to the ground, and then released and made it to the stadium in time to play.
How about Calais Campbell getting arrested
Can I
too?
ask
Calais Campbell got
Walter
arrested.
Payton, Man of the Year.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
How fast was he going if he was reckless?
They have
driving?
not released any of that yet.
Correct.
We do not know.
They need to release that because they don't make you lay down on the fucking ground for no reason. That's he had to be either driving that fucking stupid or that doesn't happen to people that are fucking complete idiots.
Nobody saw any of
Calais Campbell was just there to say, "Hey, this is Tyreek Hill."
Yeah, and they cuffed
He
him.
got fucking handcuffed.
Yeah.
For obstruction.
Yeah.
The Miami-Dade Police Department just came out and said they're going to release the full 105 minutes of body
There you
camera
go.
footage from the incident.
Want to see that?
That'll be
That I want to see.
breakdown.
That I want to see. I'm not going to say anything more till I see the camera footage.
Also, I might get myself in some trouble here, especially from you. There's got to be a level of like social cues that the cops need to take here. No celebrities above the law, especially this guy who's beating his wife and his kids, one of his 10 kids and all that. I think Tyreek Hill's a grade A piece of shit. He also had a domestic in college, which is why he got kicked out of Kansas State. It's a story for another time. Still, though, when you have, like, Tyreek Hill's one thing, but if Calais Campbell's comes up, like, don't be tone deaf. Like, you don't need to cause shit. They're there to run traffic for the Dolphins game. You don't need to cause problems with the Dolphins just to make a scene and make an incident. It's the same thing as the
Scheffler.
same thing as Scotty Scheffler. Has that been said yet?
Yep.
It's the same exact thing as Scotty Scheffler.
It was identical.
It's tone deaf. Like it's like, what are you doing? Like you don't need to make a statement right now. Like
Give him his fucking
You're
ticket, let
employed.
him go on
You're
his way.
here right now running traffic because of this game.
Correct.
So
I agree.
don't do that.
I agree.
People are paying to see these people. Now, that doesn't mean Tyreek Hill's a saint. He's a huge piece of shit. But we know Calais Campbell's a really good guy.
Listen to me.
And they made an
If
example
you're
out of him.
reckless driving in front of a fucking stadium full of people, they're going to rip you out of the car, too.
Hold on.
Yeah.
He was in the players' only lane.
So what?
It was a lane closed off for the players.
Okay.
So the only people that were in the lane,
So how was he reckless driving then?
because he probably got into the lane, the security probably let him into the lane. He was in a McLaren and probably just absolutely.
I don't care what kind of fucking
took
car he was in. He's a piece of shit. How
And
about that?
there's a lot to, like reckless driving could be anything too. Like they can classify
Yeah,
like
man, you know
changing
what?
three
Maybe he
lanes.
drove over the fucking lawn or something. to
yeah.
get in
We
there.
don't know. We don't know.
No, they
Yeah,
said
he
they
could've.
said speed was a factor.
Was a fact.
It was a factor. Yeah.
Absolutely. He deserved it.
Well, it didn't hold him down though, because he had 130 yards and a touchdown.
I do want to see the footage before I make another comment.
Okay.
All right.
130 yards and a touchdown for Tariq yesterday. Beautiful game. Waddle had a nice game as well,
What beautiful game. It all came in the fucking fourth quarter.
and that's where it mattered because the Dolphins won this game 20-17.
I got lucky.
I will say, was not wildly impressed with the Dolphins yesterday. I thought that you couldn't. I mean, the offense played good. Their defense isn't good. Their defense really is not good. I thought I was actually impressed with Jacksonville's defense more so than I was with anything else out of this game. I think Jacksonville's defense looked nice.
Big game for the first overall pick.
Big game.
Trayvon Walker had a big game yesterday.
He had a nice game yesterday. I was shocked to see Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne split shares out of the backfield. Didn't really understand that one all that much. And I thought Trevor Lawrence looked horrendously average again.
Yeah.
Outside of that, nothing changed for me on this game.
Brian Thomas, big game for the rookie.
Brian Thomas
looked
did
good.
have a nice game.
He looked good.
Touchdown, 47 yards.
He was
You
the
were
best.
right. I think he's the best.
He was the best rookie
receiver.
running or receiver yesterday. I mean, I would take him over.
Take him over Xavier Leggett?
We would have had Pearsall tonight, but I mean, out of all the rookies, he by far better than Marvin Harrison. Odunze, by the way, is getting an MRI on his knee. Better than all those guys, and his
Marvin
route
Harrison's
running,
one catch.
the touchdown throw to Trevor Lawrence looked really fucking good. The one to Brian Thomas, the route that Thomas ran was great, and the way Lawrence found him was
Well, you
also
could've
great.
just Stayed on that line at the back of the end zone. Nice.
Brian Thomas is a beast, an absolute beast, and I think that's good. I didn't think Jacksonville would have held their own like they did yesterday, and they did, and they almost won. So credit to the Jags. They played a good game. Another team that notched up in my book.
I agree. Did this change anybody's mind on the Dolphins?
Yeah, it was a great win. That was a great win.
Yeah, they pulled one out when they should have lost.
They got to hold serve while some of these guys come back,
Yeah.
until Quinn comes back, but
Yeah.
or Chubb, excuse me.
Ramsey got an extension, 3 years, $72 million.
Who?
Jalen Ramsey.
Oh,
I think they just upped his money once.
Yeah.
Once what's his face in Denver got paid.
I think the
Sure can.
Jaguars for me, I'm really high on the Dolphins. I think I'm higher than both of you guys. Jaguars for me definitely took a step up. Again, I think that AFC South is going to be bedlam. Miami is as good as I thought they were. I thought they looked a little slow yesterday, and they need to get healthy. But I think that they're going to look better going forward.
yeah. I don't think you can. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Who do they play this week?
I love when you say, I don't know, we'll see what happens, because
Yeah, 'cause
that's your key
to
to
me-
saying, you're
they
full
were
of shit and I don't like
I
what
don't
you're
think they
saying.
were impressive yesterday.
They play Buffalo
There you go.
in Buffalo on Thursday Night Football.
That'll impress me. They can beat Buffalo. That'll impress me.
Moving on, Seahawks headed to Denver to play the Broncos. Seattle comes out on top in Bo Nix's debut, 26-20. First thoughts on this game. Do we feel good about Seattle right now?
Kenneth Walker was a fucking monster yesterday.
Yes, he was. Averaged over 5 yards per
Right,
carry, had a touchdown.
But I still think they make so many fucking mistakes. I thought they got lucky. They pulled that game out.
Can you imagine if they had a quarterback? If Seattle had
Yeah.
a quarterback.
My God.
Can you imagine how good they'd be?
Yeah.
I benched Tyler Lockett.
Because I thought Geno Smith was fucking trash yesterday. It's just my opinion.
I'm going to say this going forward, okay? As loaded as the receiving core is for Seattle, and Metcalf, Smith and Jigba, they added Laviska Shenault, they used their running backs in the passing
Lockett.
game. I drafted Tyler Lockett knowing that he is one of the most consistent targets in the league every year, and I panicked and took him out, and I'm not going to do that again because Tyler Lockett will get his no matter what, and I'm just going to roll with that. I thought he looked good. I agree with if they had somebody there to throw the ball outside of Geno Smith, they would be better. For me, I don't think Denver's a good football team, and I don't think Seattle's a very good football team. So the team that's not very good beat the team that's really not very good.
All smoke, no fire with Denver. I could see that being a thing. The Bo Nix thing. We've been hearing how good Bo Nix is.
He's average.
And he did look good in the preseason. And I know the Seattle defense is good. It's probably the best secondary in football. I know it's very good. They hired a really good defensive-minded head coach, but at the same time, I was expecting a
you can
little
see
bit more.
he's learning on the run.
Bo Nix, you're saying?
Yeah. He'll be better next week.
Average at best.
He'll be better next week.
It's hard. Did I give the Caleb Williams stat when we were picking last week? It's really hard
I
for
thought
rookie
he looked better
quarterbacks
than
to
Caleb
win.
Williams did.
Caleb Williams is the first number one overall pick to win his first game in
He didn't win
years.
shit.
I know.
team
Agreed.
did.
Agreed. But the whole point is rookie quarterbacks don't come out hot. It just
No.
doesn't happen.
John Elway was benched in his first fucking game.
Peyton Manning's first season was an unmitigated disaster.
Moving on. We got to talk about a divisional game here. The Raiders played the Chargers. Are you ready now? You want to hop on with me? You want to hop on with me?
I think the Raiders might actually be bad.
Utterly fucking gashed. Yes.
The Raiders are fucking awful.
No,
I
don't
I think the
they're
Raiders are bad.
The Raiders
I
are
think the Raiders
fucking
bad.
awful, dude.
Because the Chargers are not talented.
Gardner Minshew is dog shit. Zamir White, dog shit. The Raiders defense, average. I mean, you were the one with the expectations for this.
Listen to me. They lined it up and punched him in the mouth.
That's hardball.
Listen to me.
They played hardball.
You let the ghost of J.K. Dobbins.
We should have known
that
those
was
guys would
incredible.
be decent, though, because I told you they built from their offensive line out this offseason, and it showed. Like,
Granted, J.K. Dobbins did have a 61-yard run that kind of skewed the numbers.
Not only that, I mean, their defense, the Chargers' defense, did not look like the same team that they put out there.
no, it had life yesterday.
Yeah.
It's
What
another
about Lad
thing.
McConkey?
Boza was good. Fucking Mack was good. They were tough. They were all running to the ball. They were fucking impressive.
DJ Chark went on IR right before this game started.
Yeah.
So I think that opened some things up for McConkey in his first game to look good. And Quentin Johnson had
I thought Quentin Johnson looked okay.
He looked better than he did last year.
You know what they were doing? So I'll admit I struggled with the 4 o'clock games because I was tailgating, but I was going back and forth on Red Zone. You know what I noticed they were doing with Quentin Johnson was a lot of screens or quick slants, a lot of quick slants. Instead, like at TCU, his bread and butter was downfield. Like
he was running them fucking slants there, man.
Well, he's running the slants
that's
yesterday.
where he
too.
crushed Michigan, was on them slants.
And it worked yesterday.
Yeah.
It worked yesterday. Like a lot of his
Harbaugh's
bread
not
was buttered.
stupid, dude.
No, of course not.
He's running the same fucking routes he ran at TCU. I was like, fuck.
And if that's a way to get him going, like if
Yeah.
you have a good slot receiver, like if you don't need him to be the downfield guy, like and McConkey too. McConkey we know can play anywhere on the field. That ain't bad. That's not that bad of a pass catching core considering what they lost. Considering
Right.
they lost their two.
And I thought Brock Bowers was pretty fucking good.
Tell us.
Yeah, I think he looked great
I
yesterday,
mean,
too.
He was solid.
He looked good.
He was solid. He was the only thing that the Raiders had outside of him and fucking. I'll tell you, who looked good yesterday was Myers. Jacoby Myers had a hell of a fucking game yesterday.
I don't even know if it's going to be right now. Who do you think finishes the season better, the Raiders or the Chargers?
Right now.
Like, are you willing to admit that last week you were wrong about Gardner Minshew?
What do you mean I was wrong about Gardner Minshew?
Option 2
I
is still
still
not
think.
good there, though.
Listen to
Option
me.
2 is
I
not
still
good.
think they should have went with the kid
Aiden
they had.
O'Connell.
Yes.
I don't.
You
I
are
think they
so
I think they
full
chose
of
the right guy.
petrified shit right now. You sat up here last week and for 20 minutes touted
you know what?
how great Gardner Minshew was going to be.
I didn't say that.
You did.
That is such a fucking lie right now.
Bruce, find the
Listen,
clip.
whatever. Take that clip and shove it in your ass. Hey, I told you guys he's played more football than everybody else. So there's your option. It's either him or fucking Sam Darnold. Who do you want?
Okay, hopping back to the Chargers. Between Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins had a great game yesterday. I thought Gus Edwards looked average at best. He barely hit 3 yards per carry. But who do we think is the guy there? They had an even split.
I don't think there is a guy.
no
I think
guy.
he's going to do it by committee.
How Harbaugh has always done it. There's no guy.
I liked J.K. Dobbins yesterday. I really
Good.
did.
J.K. Dobbins was never bad.
No.
He was never bad.
stay
He was
healthy.
just injured.
Do we think that at some point the patience runs out in Vegas?
Yeah.
If this gets bad.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
looking like it's going to get
Because
bad.
there were expectations this year, and they almost didn't hire that guy. And I think they made the right decision hiring him. They just didn't get him enough help.
No.
Yeah, I do. And you know what else I could see? And you could start this, like, again, I didn't watch the game in its entirety, but the Devontae Adams trade.
Yeah.
Can see it happening.
Devontae Adams will be a Jet by Halloween.
No,
That's
it'll be a
coming.
Lion.
That's coming.
The Jets. You fucking kidding me?
Moving on to another Uncle Sam heartbreaker game.
This surprised me.
This didn't surprise me.
It didn't surprise people in Cleveland, though, either.
Didn't surprise me. The Dallas Cowboys headed up to Cleveland in Tom Brady's official debut as a broadcaster, and he
the
looked
blowout.
gorgeous. He
The
looked
blowout.
gorgeous
Oh,
yesterday.
The blowout surprised me.
He was
Not the outcome. The blowout surprised me. Sorry,
He
go
looked
ahead.
beautiful. I thought he did a great job. He's the voice of an angel.
Chat.
beautiful.
Everyone in the chat, if you watched this game, the 4 p.m., 4:25 on Fox, if you saw Tom Brady, it's the talk of the day. What did you think? The feedback has been negative. I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. Feedback has been negative. What do you guys think in the chat? of Tom Brady's debut.
He fucking rambles and doesn't make any sense.
You want to know who else rambled and didn't make any fucking sense yesterday? It was none other than Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson, who looked almost as bad as Daniel Jones yesterday.
He was awful.
He is no, not was, is. We have not seen Deshaun Watson play good football in 3 fucking years. He hasn't.
He
The guy
hasn't
ain't
played
got
good
it.
football since he left Houston.
He ain't got it.
Yeah.
If you are a Cleveland Browns fan right now,
You're decimated because you're wasting
at what
a
point?
fucking team that has a great defense on some bullshit guy that can't sustain drives. He can't hit open receivers. He can't even fucking read a defense anymore.
Is the alarm going
awful.
off? Is the alarm going off?
The alarm
think
in
so.
Cleveland, I have a really good friend in Cleveland. Shout out to Jam. Jam, you can't see this right now.
Shout out, Jam.
Because you never fucking watch, but shout out to Jam. And he said everything. I'll read you his text from before the game because I was cracking open a nooner.
Can I pause real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick. We have breaking news. 49ers running back Christian McCaffrey is officially out tonight with a calf and Achilles injury.
I'm going against him in 2 leagues. 2 leagues.
Christian
Huge.
McCaffrey
Huge.
out tonight with a calf and Achilles injury. So
Huge. It's week 1 and he hasn't played already.
Uncle Sam will be very happy tomorrow when Aaron Rodgers picks up W here.
Back to the Browns real quick. I texted my buddy Jam, and I go, Browns thoughts. He says not high, and he's like a Browns slap. He lives around the corner from the stadium. He's a jet ski, and he goes and drives by the fucking Mistake by the lake all the time. He goes, I'm not high on Deshaun. And I go, I don't know. If it's a rock fight, the Browns probably win. And I still hold to that. Like I told you, like I thought it was going to be low scoring, but he goes, every vibe I get is the dude just does not give a shit about football. Cleveland will boo him. They were booing him before the half and for the rest of the game. He goes, once they do, I'll bet he gets petty and just checks out emotionally completely, which that's the next phase is him checking out, I feel like.
Yeah.
Cleveland is not high on him at all currently, but if he starts winning games, all is forgiven. And then sure enough, it's Dallas. Dallas might actually be better than I thought they were.
I think the Browns are just not good. I really do. I think they're at best, they're a 9-win team. And to boot, on top of all this Deshaun Watson not being good at football, another Jane Doe came forward today and accused him of sexual assault and filed a lawsuit.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's just my God. What's a worse signing right now? The Deshaun Watson signing or the Daniel Jones signing?
I think there can still be a little more evidence on Deshaun Watson, whereas I think we've had all the
Is
evidence.
there pun
we need.
intended there? A little
No,
more evidence
there
on
wasn't.
Deshaun Watson.
There wasn't pun intended there.
Speaking of extensions, Dak got his finally 4 years, $240 million. I believe if I do the math correctly, 24 divided by 4 is 60, so it's $60 million a year for Dak Prescott. Uncle Sam, first thoughts.
Dog shit.
Are the Cowboys better than the Eagles? Are they the class of the division after yesterday?
I think if we're going by week one,
Yeah.
I think and I still think the Eagles win the division, but I think if we're going by week one, the Cowboys. I disagree on the Browns. I just think they have a Deshaun Watson problem.
At what point does Jameis Winston start?
End of the month. I think everyone gets a month. I think everyone gets.
October.
I think everyone gets out. Yeah, it's September. Everyone gets it.
Well, real quick, let's just for fun. I know we're up against it here, but just for fun. At Jacksonville next week for the Browns. A week ago, that game there wouldn't even be a thought. I think we would have swept that game with Cleveland a week ago. At Jacksonville.
It's trouble if they don't. I'm not going to pick it, but it's major trouble if they don't win.
And then the next week they play the Giants. That's going to be Deshaun Watson's saving grace. Is the fact that they have to play the Giants.
You feel really good if they do win the next two.
If they beat Jacksonville, I feel good. The Giants game doesn't mean anything. Giants are the worst team we've ever seen. Giants could go 0-16.
Maybe.
Giants could go 0-16. Next up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played the Washington Commanders, and Tampa Bay came out on top in this one 37-20. Baker Mayfield, man. Baker Mayfield. He cooked yesterday. He baked yesterday. I think people are sleeping on the Buccaneers. I think people are sleeping on Baker Mayfield. I think that this is right now, And last week, I felt the same way. This is Tampa's division to lose. This is Tampa's division to lose.
I feel more so about it after this week. They're. I mean, it's the Commanders, so I don't want to read crazy into it. But
I agree.
But it's clear that Baker picked up where he left off. It's clear the defense picked up where he left off. But they had 2 injuries. They're coming to Ford Field, by the way, this week.
Yes, they are.
And they're going to be missing Antoine Winfield.
That's big.
And Bryce Hall. So their
Those are
secondary
two
is a little depleted.
Those are 2 big ones.
But that effort they gave yesterday versus the effort the Lions gave yesterday, like the Lions are on watch 100%.
Oh, yeah.
And on top of that, it's hard to beat a team 3 times, and that's what they'd be going for, is beating a team 3 times in a year. That's not easy to do.
What do we think about Washington's day yesterday?
They're right where they need to be.
At this point.
They're right where they need to be. Their secondary still sucks. It's still depleted. They didn't do enough on that front. I thought that Jaden Daniels, he probably had the best start out of all the rookie quarterbacks yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Love what I saw out of him, and again, there's nowhere to go but up. Like that's a marathon, not a sprint in DC.
There's nobody to catch the ball for Jaden
there is.
Daniels.
Brian Robinson and fucking
Brian Robinson,
Eckler.
Austin Eckler led the team in
When your
yards
running
and
backs,
receptions.
are leading in receptions and receiving yards, that's
That's bad.
major
Listen,
problem.
he throws a nice fucking deep ball. Let the kid throw it, dude.
Yeah, but to
What
whom?
the fuck?
They gotta
To
get
who?
open.
I mean, you have the
McLaurin?
ghost of Zach Ertz, dude.
Yeah.
The ghost of Zach Ertz. McLaurin had 17 yards.
That's the thing, is they couldn't scheme McLaurin open, and it's the same problem Ben Johnson had, because it's Cliffberry, right? Isn't it Cliff Kingsbury?
Yep.
They need to work on that. Because their receiver problem has been we've been talking about it for 2 months. It's been a problem all off season, and it was prevalent. So you need to get
Defense
ahead of
played
that.
pretty well.
For the most part, against a good team, I mean, it's kind of how for how shitty their defense is. Like it's good. It held its own a little bit.
I got to jump back here for a second because I believe I missed a game earlier, and I'm not seeing it for some reason.
Oh, Bears Titans.
The Tennessee Titans headed to Chicago to take on the Bears. Got to hear your thoughts on this. Caleb Williams had his nails painted before the game yesterday.
Yeah, he's fucking cute. Anyway, Will Levis gave that fucking game away with that stupid fucking shuffle pass he tried to throw at the sideline.
Will Levis is
fucking
dog shit.
dumbass.
He's dog shit.
Hold on, Bears
Levis
D's
is
pretty
dog
good.
shit.
They would
Bears
have beat
D's
Bears
pretty good.
defense is pretty good. Will Levis is still dog.
That's why they won yesterday, is because of their defense.
correct.
Special
Caleb
teams.
Williams did them no favors.
Special
yesterday.
teams.
And the special teams.
They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't throw the ball. Caleb Williams and that offense did them no favors yesterday. They got lucky. But Will Levis is still dog shit.
You know what? They would have won if he hadn't have done that. That was a stupid play, and he knows it. He cost his team the fucking game.
Are you slightly higher on Tennessee after that game?
I thought their defense was outstanding.
Lower. Because I was pretty high on Tennessee.
Over under 5 wins.
Over.
That's a tough game yesterday, despite what you guys think. I think they can get better. I think when they get healthier, they can get better. I got to look at their schedule. I'm going to say over right now, because 5 wins. What did they have last year? 4 wins or 5 wins?
4.
Yeah, I think I think it has to be over.
Chicago over under 8.
I don't feel as good about Chicago,
I
but
don't
again,
either.
there's
I'm lower
nowhere
on Chicago.
there's nowhere to go but up.
Right.
I think if they play their cards right, especially with this Jordan Love injury, I think if they play their cards right, I think they could get to 9 wins. I think they could do it.
I have no confidence in Will Levis going forward.
You were right when you said Malik Willis.
Huh?
You were right.
I have
when you
no
said
confidence in Malik Willis either, I will say. And I believe that wraps up the weekend. Real quick, a couple other injuries that we did not talk about. Jake Ferguson, tight end for the Cowboys,
Yeah, I seen
MCL
that.
sprain.
He got hammered.
That sucks. Puka Nacua carted off. They're saying it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks for him. Jags corner Tyson Campbell has a hamstring injury to monitor. And Panthers defensive tackle Derek Brown,
Yeah, I know.
who Uncle Sam took one pick before I took DeForest Buckner.
yesterday.
In our IDP league, I think he is out for the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
The knee injury, yeah. So that's
I got a
Tough
lot
one
of
there.
revamping to do.
a tough one there.
Waiver wire to do.
Before we end today's show, we do have a Monday Night Football game tonight. As I just said, Christian McCaffrey officially out this evening with a knee and an Achilles injury.
And how long is he out for?
It's just tonight.
He's got a Band-Aid on his cunt.
Just tonight. He is going to miss tonight. The line prior to that was 4.5. I am going to see if I can get an updated one real quick here. It dropped. It's a 3.5-point line now. Over-under dropped to 42.5 from 44. 43.5.
Oh, I'm going to fucking pour gas on this fire that you guys are going to hate right now. They don't need Christian McCaffrey to win. They never have needed Christian McCaffrey to win.
Aaron Rodgers' debut. He is currently on the field warming up. Let's go.
Hold on, didn't they lose 2 games last year? The 2 games that Christian McCaffrey was not there?
They lost as the Debo.
Yeah, you're exactly.
They
that's
need
right.
Debo?
They need Debo to win.
But they both missed it.
They both
Debo
missed that
and
game.
McCaffrey missed
They
it.
I think they lost all the Debo.
They lost 3 in a row when
Okay.
fucking Debo was up.
Before we pick it, what's one thing that you want to see out of the Jets tonight that will make you feel confident in them?
Oh, just keep Rodgers upright.
Keeping Rodgers up.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Mine is absolutely hammering Breece Hall. Keep feeding Breece Hall. And don't get away from it.
I think you're going to see that.
Don't get away from it. I want Breece Hall to have 23 carries tomorrow.
Mahmoud Bob, or whatever his fucking name is.
Shout out to Amu Bob.
Shout
Yeah,
out.
if he's
Bob.
smart, he runs Breece Hall till he dies.
For me on the Jets, I am curious on a one Mike Williams because if they are able to develop a passing attack that isn't just Garrett Wilson, because you could scheme for that.
Right.
So if they can get someone else some target shares, because I think their receivers are suspect. If Mike Williams is like halfway what he was, I'm excited to see it. Then I will buy a little bit more into the Jets.
If he can play a real number 2 to Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
You're going to see Braylon Allen tonight, too. He's a fucking monster. You're going to see him.
Flip the coin. What's one thing you want to see out of San Francisco tonight?
I want to see Brandon Ayuk earn that money he just got.
I don't want to see any miscues with the offense. I want to see a clean game.
I think they'll.
I want to see
come out.
Brock Purdy have a clean
You know
game.
what? Shanahan is a stickler for
Clean.
I think they're going to come out and they're going to be clean. The problem is he will coach his way out of a fucking win. 'Cause he's
For
stupid.
me, it's the secondary. I'd like to see, and then I'll throw the linebackers in the secondary conversation. Just everything behind their front four, front three, whatever you want to call it.
Who's taking what's his name spot that he's hurt?
It's he's serviceable, and they still have Fred Warner. You know.
Yeah. Well, I know he's hobbled too. He's not healthy.
I'm excited to see the Niners D against Aaron Rodgers. It's Aaron Rodgers at home,
Yeah.
the pride of Chico, California. He went to Cal, so behind it's
Smoked
Warner.
a lot of peyote out in Cal.
Warner, and then Devondre Campbell. I forgot they signed him. It's Devondre Campbell. That's a pretty solid.
And Warner.
And Warner. That's a pretty serviceable backup or replacement for Greenlaw,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I'm excited to see their linebackers and their secondary eat. I don't know if they're going to eat, but like if they, that's the story of the game. I think it's going to be Aaron Rodgers trying to pick apart the Niners secondary.
Can
Because
that O-line protect him? That's the key.
you're about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Definitely a storyline.
That New York defense is pretty fucking good too.
Okay. So I know we already picked this game. Are you sticking with your pick?
Yeah.
Jets to win.
Jets to win. Period.
Over, under? Did the McCaffrey thing change that at all for you?
No, I take the over.
Zola.
Yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have something to prove. And then Brock Purdy always has something to prove. So I think I like the over without McCaffrey. I still like the Niners without the McCaffrey. I still like the Niners to cover without McCaffrey because he's not, as Uncle Sam says about Montgomery, he's the engine here. I don't think McCaffrey's the engine in San Francisco. I think he's a spoke in the wheel.
You picked the Jets already,
What's
right?
the engine of San
We didn't pick
Francisco?
this game.
Yes, we did.
It's not on the.
Debo.
Yeah, it is. Open your eyes.
I don't think they have an engine. I think their offense is engineless.
Bruce
Oh,
has
we
his,
did.
Bruce has his eyes gooed shut back there. I'm going to stick with the Jets.
Yeah, You and I are head to head right now. If the Jets win, you win the week. If the Niners win, I win the week.
I'm gonna stick with the Jets. I
We're
think
both 11-4.
if I was betting this game now, I think I kind of forgot about the defense, how good both of these defenses can be.
Right.
I think I might hit the under in this, but I'm gonna stick with the Jets. But you want to know what's fucked up? It doesn't change. This McCaffrey playing or not playing didn't really sway me that much. Because I think Aaron Rodgers is going to he has the world to prove tonight. And the Jets need this game more than the Niners.
But also, if he just doesn't tear his ACL, that's
If his leg doesn't explode on the field and he doesn't have to be, carried off, it's a win for them. One last piece of news. Kendrick Lamar was announced today as the Super Bowl 59 halftime show performer. Uncle Sam, your thoughts before we end today's show.
Terrific. Looking Looking forward to that fucking halftime show.
Anyways,
he's hot. It shows where
Looking
he's
forward to
valued.
that.
Right.
It shows where Kendrick
He's
Lamar
hot.
is valued right now.
He's hot right
and
now.
I just feel like he's
They not
just
like
on
us.
this extreme high, and good for him.
anything to add before we go?
These kids don't know what talent is today. It's fucking a joke.
Zolo, anything to add?
No.
Bruce? Then Bruce, from the bottom of our hearts, we hope you get well soon. We hope you get well soon.
I hope you die.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Tip Balls Podcast. Make sure to follow our socials, Instagram and Twitter at Tip Balls, TikTok at Tip Balls Podcast. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Music, check us out on YouTube. Remember to subscribe so you get notified when we go live. Now, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, sometime around 5. We might start going live on TikTok here pretty quick, too. So, you can watch us there. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. We will be back on Wednesday.